All right. All right, now call our meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Few administrative notes about Zoom. Today's meeting is being recorded and closed caption is available for each user by simply clicking the button on the toolbar below. We don't have any attendees, but this notice is an important distinction just to mention. So the committee of the whole is an opportunity for the commission to review materials and ask questions in preparation for the full body meeting next week, which is Wednesday, March 26th. We'll use the draft agenda for the full body meeting as the guide for conducting the COW. However, no official actions or votes will take place at the COW, with the exception of administrative operations as they arise, which we don't have any today. And so with that, we will not do a roll call because we are not going to take any official action or anything of that nature. But per DC law, the ANC 1E meeting was noticed to the community via listserv and ANC's website and e-calendar. So that I will start sharing my screen. And please disregard the formatting. For some reason, it gets all funky. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah. It gets funky when I use it in the browser, but when I download it the day of, it's fine. So we'll just pay attention to the content. All right, so we'll go through the agenda. And Josh, if you don't mind just keeping an eye on the attendees. I see Audra. And promoting people if you don't mind, or do you want to take control as the host? Josh, do you mind doing that?
Oh, I am on mute. Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
I might have to log out and log back in, unless you can just make me host.
Yeah, can I just promote you as one?
Yeah.
I'll make co-host. Thank you. Did that work?
Yep, I think so.
Perfect. Okay. So hi Audra.
Hi there.
How's it going?
Okay.
Good. All right, so going through the agenda. So we'll have our administrative matters, that's the same. For the consent agenda this month, we'll have two items, the approving of the February minutes, and then approval of, this is something that I'm putting on there, approval for the commission to purchase banners from a printer in DC in the amount of $1,123.60. I will go through that in a moment. I'm just going to go through all the pieces of the agenda and then we'll come back. The committee announcement and presentations, we don't have any special guests. We'll just have our regular two representatives. Official business. Josh, you had mentioned that do you have anything that's coming out of your committee that you want to put here?
I'll just update on the conversations we had as a committee. There weren't any resolutions though.
Awesome. Okay. And then Michael, he'll give updates from the meeting, and then there's one resolution coming out of there, which is a stipulated license for a restaurant that's opening up in my SMD. I brought it to the committee and they approved it, and we'll consider it next week. I don't believe that there's anything else coming out of that committee. And then public safety, Phil, did you have anything?
Yeah, we're going to have that resolution about MPD in here.
Amazing. Is it, do you want to just walk me through what the title would be?
Yeah. Let me just pull it open. Resolution condemning the reinstatement of officers convicted in the death of Karen Hilton Brown and subsequent obstruction of justice.
Do you mind just putting that in the chat?
Sorry.
No. That's great. Yeah. And then, Josh, do you want to, thank you. Do you want to add the resolution that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, I need to figure out what exactly our request should be to the council member. So I'm open to feedback on what we might want to do there.
So I have 4 clauses that I put in the draft. We can go through it. But that's everything for the official business. Is there anything else that we just want to add for right now, and we'll come back to it, but anything that's missing?
Out of the committees or just in general?
General, both.
So a couple of things. There is going to be Columbia Heights, which extends into several of our single member districts. I don't think that the organizers are all that concerned about boundaries. Just Columbia Heights, Parkview in general, garage sale, and there is a sign up form. And so in the same way that we've promoted and let people know about the cleanups, I thought this would probably be a good time to just announce that it is happening, not necessarily advocate for signing up, though it is possible, more of an alert to the community that on Saturday, April 5th, there will be a lot of people and a lot of things out on the sidewalk in the general area. So I thought that might be a good update for people.
Yeah, and you could do that in the community announcements.
Okay, wonderful. That would be great. I just wanted to let people know, and I can assemble the little Google form should people be interested. I can hand the link over. The second thing is I wondered if, and again, I don't know if this should fall under official business, but I'd be happy to provide a general update on the state of DC's budget, as I have lived through every painful second of it from an internal perspective. I would be happy to provide a general update, not that I can predict anything on where it's going to go, but I can give a brief summary, especially as I know the committees are preparing what they may or may not want to say during the budget planning meetings that will be upcoming. So if that is of interest to my fellow commissioners and the ANC as a whole, I would be happy to provide a brief update on that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe also in community announcements.
Sure.
Unless there's like, are you thinking do you want to do any like kind of official position or anything, or it's just more of like, here's what's going on,
Well,
here's where we are.
I mean, we could certainly go for an official position if we were to go for one. I suppose, I'm not even sure what committee it could fall under to come out as a resolution, but generally I would say supporting um, autonomy is preferred.
I-
But that's not
Urging,
been.
Yeah, I
urging
would
the House to
also
pass it.
just include a sense of gratitude towards Thune and Trump for supporting this position, because I think that will reiterate to House Republicans that like the president has said he supports this measure, and Thune has already passed it under UC. So like, trying to make sure that we're expressing gratitude for them doing that, and then B, it may put pressure on Johnson to like actually do this.
That is actually a wonderful idea. Not only Johnson, but I can't remember his name. Um, House Oversight and Government
Yeah,
Efficiency
Comer.
Yeah, Comer.
Comer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Comer and Comer and the
most
mayor.
likely to pick up and add amendments to
Yeah.
the bill. And if we could thank him in advance for keeping it simple and quick, that would be great.
Yeah, Comer and the mayor actually have a really good relationship. It's weird.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
He has, like, watching him question the mayor, it is shockingly soft compared to watching him question others. So
no, they have like a weird bond.
I support it. I don't question it.
This is why she's so good at like kind of navigating this stuff right now, and like I don't know how long she can hold on to it, right? Like I think there's a point where the residents are just going to be so angry of how they're being treated, and like I feel for her because like she has literally almost no leverage in this situation. So like, but this is one of those things where like, that relationship may play out. But I just generally like, I'm always with the mindset of thanking legislators when they do things that are helpful, because that gratitude isn't expressed on either side a lot, and it I think helps endear and encourages good productive behavior. So, but there's other reasons too, particularly as we try to put pressure on Johnson in this situation. And what I have told some Republicans is that like this doesn't help y'all. Like you don't get any of this money. Like you can't use it for savings. Can't go to Doge. Like like this is our money. And, it's essentially, I mean, I don't say this, but it's theft, but, but I do think like pointing some of like, we don't need to say that in the resolution, but like, my point is, I think we've got a good, rational, reasonable argument, and there's no like upside to this for them politically. So I think we can just show like support with Senate Republicans and the president. Like it's kind of a no-brainer, hopefully.
I probably
why
won't
don't you-
vote for something thanking Trump, to be honest, but I'm fine if folks want to put that in the resolution. Just being totally blunt.
Same with
That's
me.
fair.
Ew.
Yeah, but like he did kind of like support this. I mean, we don't have to say like thank you, Mr. President.
I
for the
wouldn't dare
scraps you're
thank him. I mean,
throwing
I think
us.
we should say, he just acknowledge he supports it. We can leave it there.
Sort of like we appreciate the swift and simple budget fix resolution as supported and passed, as supported by President Trump and passed by the Senate, and we hope for a swift
Yeah.
pass in the House.
Yeah, I think you could say something like we're grateful for the bipartisan support.
Oh,
of
there
the
we
fix.
go.
Like
That's good too. That's fine
Yeah.
too.
I tell you what, so Philippa and Brad, why don't you guys work together, put a draft together, and send it around to the group?
Sure.
Just as people who may, if this is the first time you're putting a resolution together, ChatGPT is your best friend.
I mean, I
So,
trust
like-
Philip. I trust Philip on that. that was my one thing is like, I want to acknowledge the bipartisan support here and be grateful for it. And then from there, I think I trust you.
Okay, I'll do my best, and I will do my best to also keep it aligned on the budget only. We'll try and keep it as simple as what it is. Part of just what I want to say is a general update to folks in the meeting of where we stand going into budget season, as well as the projections and sort of what we have upcoming in terms of purchasing power shrinkage and things like that. So I just wanted to provide a general update on both what happened legislatively on a national scale, as well as where we are on a local scale with the timeline and sort of where that's going. So just because I know it's a big deal for the committees and wanting to express particular programming and activity opinions, I just wanted to give everybody a general update of where everything stands.
Which, just for all our own awareness, is that nothing is changing. The mayor said that she's committed to meeting the obligations of the city, that they're confident that the House is going to do to pass this, and we'll kind of go from there. Yeah.
Exactly. So the
Cool.
fingers crossed version is that everything stays the same, pending pass in the House. DC government employees in DC itself will continue to function irregardless of the federal government being shut down or open. We will still be able to collect local taxes. Our budget will still be presented to Congress for approval. Like, long story short, I just wanted to express in what has and hasn't changed, as well as on the local level what we're looking at shortfall projection wise, and the potential cuts that may be proposed coming up. So just a general update from my own knowledge as we go into committees, and perhaps putting together statements for budget. I cannot remember their names. They're not budget performance.
Budget oversight.
Thank you. Budget oversight meetings. So just a general update on that.
Cool. Well, so yeah, if you want to take a stab at putting a resolution together, and if you need any help,
Sure.
I'm happy
Thank
to help you out.
Wonderful.
And then if we can just plan to maybe get it done by Sunday, that way we can give it to the rest of the crew to take a look at before Wednesday.
Absolutely. And everyone, please know I'm wide open to language suggestions, so that we're not somehow committing ourselves to opinions we don't agree with. But I'm wide open for suggestions on that. So I'll give it my best shot and send it around.
Awesome. All right. So going back to the top. Oh, I'm sorry, Philippa. Did you say you had more than one? Was it the budget?
Just
And
the
then you- the
budget, and then
announcement.
also that like awareness about the yard sale happening. And should you like to sign up, here's the resource, but a neutral. I'm not sponsoring nor condemning the garage sale. Simply informing.
Okay. All right, so going back to the top, so I've been working with neighbors in 1B and in 1E to update the banners, the Shaw banners that are on light posts. And we did a community walk. We identified 20 that need to be replaced. And we got pre-approval from the ANC that this is an accepted expense, and found I have a printer who is going to make them. And here we got the art from the original one. So this is the copy of the art. This is the copy of the form from the OANC. And I CC'd Josh on all of the correspondence, so there's this formal record of the approval, because we like to just keep a record of that. But the nice thing, and this is just for everyone's awareness, that we are allowed, due to, I guess, a law change last year, that you are now allowed to spend ANC dollars that benefit the community at large, not just your individual SMD or commission. And so that opens up the opportunity for us to do some joint programming with, like, for people on the northern side, Ward 4, for me on the southern side with 1B, Ward 2. And so I'm doing this, we're going to do a 50-50 split of the cost with 1B. And the commissioner down here, his name is Francois. He's the ANC commissioner for 1B02. So we're going to split it. We're going to order 20, and then we're going to hang them up. So that's what this is. And the total is, our portion of it is $1,123.60. And then 1B will have the exact same amount. Any questions on that?
Sorry, Brian, I'm driving and I got a call, like, missed it. What is this for?
We're purchasing banners to replace the broken or missing Shaw banners that are on light posts. There are 20 that need to be replaced in the 1B and 1E area.
Why is that our expense? Sorry.
It's a community benefit that's not covered by the city. And so we have an
The city doesn't pay
accumulated
for those?
Nope.
All right. Who does?
Civic
Like-
associations bid major buildings. JBG did the first one about
okay.
10 or so years ago. And then I know the Mount Pleasant bid maintains theirs. So it's a variety of players, but the city used to do it, and then, God, years ago, when my first term as an ANC, so like 2014, they stopped doing it. And so that's why it's an allowable
Yeah.
expense, is that it's community good that's not
Oh, well,
also being done.
I certainly agree it's allowable. It's just
Yeah,
it's odd to
right.
make it false
So
to us,
I
but yeah,
suppose,
sure.
quite honestly, if we're doing it, we are going to get this whole thing done about a year faster than Public Works could get it done. So there is that
Very true.
benefit.
Oh yeah. That I believe that 100%.
Yeah. And like this, hopefully this is a good demonstration of something. Like, if there are other things that you guys have in your neighborhoods that you feel are a community benefit and something that the city does not own or maintain, like, we have a budget and please spend it.
Does that-
ANC 1B has $150,000, and it's insane that they have that much. I think we have somewhere in the ballpark of 30,000, right, Josh?
Um,
Yeah, that's about right.
does that expense cover just the printing or also the installation? Like,
It would
Yeah.
also do the installation, but the community members said they would do it themselves. So
okay.
I'm waiting to hear back if they're interested in doing like hiring somebody to go do it. But I don't think that we need to cover that for now. It's just for the printing.
And where exactly are they going? Sorry.
There are 20 locations between my SMD and one BO2. So it's basically U Street, 8th, 9th, Florida, like that little Shaw area of like the Shea, the Hatton, my Atlantic Plumbing, condos and
Yeah.
apartments, like that general little area. There are 20.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, for the other parts of our ANC that aren't Shaw, like
Hmm?
if we're already printing something and already installing them and sharing the costs, like, maybe we could talk offline, but like,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
could be something cool on Georgia Avenue or, something else, but I don't want that to halt anything. I support the funding. I'm fine with it. But
Yeah.
something to consider, and maybe we could talk offline about it.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else that people want to add to the consent agenda? All right. And then going into official business. So the stipulated license, it's in my SMD. If you guys have ever been to a restaurant called Roy Boys, which is in the Atlantic Plumbing Apartments ground floor, it went away, and now we have a new tenant that's coming in. I've gotten a number of emails from people saying how excited they are. The gentleman who's opening it is a Michelin star chef, and he's doing this new concept of a little bit more fast casual, but it's going to be burgers, sandwiches, and tacos, all with like an Ethiopian flair. So very, very excited. Did a tour of the space, went through the typical things that we talked through in a settlement agreement. And honestly, because it is so contained in the building and it's so structurally sound in how things are done, for example, the trash is in an enclosed area. The building is responsible for actually doing the trash, and so there's nothing for them to be in control of. They have rat abatement type things as part of the coding of the building. And they have security cameras that's already fully stocked. So I'm suggesting that we don't need a settlement agreement. We didn't have one with Roy Boys before, and they were phenomenal actors. Additionally, kind of supporting that, Melange is not asking for the full extent of what they're eligible for. They want to close at midnight, basically 7 days a week, which I told them, I was like, you should probably ask for more, not necessarily need it, but that's how they want to do it. So that's great. So the committee agreed to the stipulated license. Just for everyone's awareness, for new commissioners, a stipulated license basically is the ANC's authority to grant them temporary status to operate with a liquor license while they go through the protest portion of the hearing process through ABCA. This ANC doesn't really give the authority to it, but the ABCA basically listens to the ANC if they agree to it. And so we'll agree to a stipulated license, or if we agree to a stipulated license, basically the next day they can start serving alcohol.
So just out of curiosity, will this new tenant also have or be applying for the patio license or the street corridor license?
So they will be applying for a public space permit to have some outdoor seating. And we're right now trying to see if what Roy Boys had is transferable, or if they have to start the whole thing over again.
Gotcha.
But they're doing the exact same thing.
Gotcha. Well, that was truly my curiosity speaking. I don't have anything
Yeah.
against it. But thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, great question. Any other questions about stipulated license? All right. So for this next resolution, Phil or Josh, one of you guys want to take this one?
Yeah, I can do that unless Phil, you will have it pulled up already.
Yeah, I have it right here.
I'll stop
I'm happy
sharing.
for you to talk through it though, because you actually wrote it.
Yeah. I just can't remember where it ended up in the drive. I
You did the
assume it
best.
should be in the meeting and supporting materials. No, it's not. Okay.
I didn't
That's
put it in there. It's my fault.
cool. That's fine. So a high level overview for folks who maybe don't remember. In October of 2020, there was a 20-year-old black man that was fatally injured in a police pursuit by MPD in Brightwood Park. Those officers, after the chase had happened and after the man had died, they were not forthcoming about the situation and seemed to have covered up some of the evidence of what had happened. And as a result of that, they were eventually convicted of, I can't remember if it was murder or manslaughter and obstruction of justice. And then in January, Trump pardoned those two officers. And in February, MPD reinstated both of those officers. I have a lot of concerns with them doing this, but I think like the most salient thing is that a court of law found them guilty of obstruction of justice, and MPD is now saying that the court was wrong and it's okay to reinstate these officers, and it's hard to have confidence in MPD when they're reinstating officers who have been convicted of obstruction of justice. So want to call attention to obstruction of justice because I think that's the thing that like almost everyone should be able to agree on. And I think there were a couple of summary clauses at the end. If you want to scroll down. That were condemning the reinstatement of those officers and asked them to reverse the decision. Probably won't happen on reversing the decision, but I think it's something we should say. Asking the council mayor's office to review rehiring policies, particularly concerning officers who are convicted of obstruction of justice. And then we asked the mayor and chief to hold a public forum with impacted community members.
I don't know if it's appropriate or welcome to suggest another resolution, but in the upcoming budget, there are proposed cuts to the Office of Police Complaints, and beyond just handling complaints themselves, they would be the kind of people who would create and maintain a policy of if you have been convicted of X, you cannot be rehired. So just as a mere suggestion that we urge DC Council that perhaps you also include the Office of Police Complaints in your language. Just a suggestion. I don't know if that needs to go through the committee or anything else, but anything that can support their budget, which I know a few people over there just tangentially, they're trying very hard with very little resource. So any support that could be offered to the people who would enforce a policy of review, it would be OCP. So I just wanted to, bring that information to attention.
That's a good idea. We should add a clause there. And for reference, most of what comes out of committees, like we just say this is feedback from the committee, and then we usually modify things as we see fit.
Okay, I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I wasn't violating the will of what a committee has already voted or decided on. I just wanted to add some context.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the time where we don't even necessarily have the full language from a committee. We just say like, the committee's like, yeah, this is generally what we agree with, and then we tackled the language afterward. But yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Do you just want to put a note in there? Are you sharing, Phil? Yeah, do you just want to put a note in there for budgeting for the Office of Police Complaint? Like, you know what, Philip, I don't remember exactly what you said, but is it
The
Office of Police
Complaints, they
Okay.
would be the folks who would end up probably being tasked with enforcing, if
Yeah.
there was ever any kind of order of like, well, from now on, we won't rehire people with these kinds of convictions, they would be the folks who end up having to enforce that. So the more budget they have to actually do that, the better.
Yeah, so budgeting for them, and we could also just ask them that they add something like this, right?
Exactly. Yes. But
Okay,
I will
that's enough.
double check that and ensure that is the truth of the matter. I'll double check it.
I like
Yeah,
it
we
because
can-
it's more direct than asking the council or mayor.
Can I just ask for my own education? Like what was the rationale for MPD to rehire them?
MPD said, so since the rehiring, the chief stated that they re-reviewed the obstruction of justice charge, and MPD disagreed with them being convicted for obstruction of justice, and so that they followed procedure properly.
Interesting.
I can find that article later where they talk about it. I don't know that they gave too much detail though.
Awesome. Was there anything else, or I'm sorry, were you guys waiting to finish that sentence?
No, that was it.
Oh, okay,
I'll clean up the language later.
cool. And were you able to identify who you want to send the resolution to?
I
MPD?
should put that in there. Thank you for reminding me, because I've
Forget
gotten
every
on
time.
everyone's case in the past about not putting that in there.
I know you helped me to remember, and I forget on mine.
We have some notes at the bottom. It's MPD, mayor's office, district council, and then the office of police complaints.
All right. And then Phil, was that, and Josh, was that it for that one resolution?
Yep.
And then Josh, for the second one, as we were talking about before, I'll share my screen. Here's just some of the language that I just drafted quickly for, the sake of our conversation, but essentially outlining what happened, and outlining just the danger in MPD focusing their efforts to support federal agencies rather than their mission statement of district residents. And then I think the real piece is there are 4 things that are specifically being called upon in the be resolved. So for Council Member Brooke Pinto to hold oversight hearings, this is the committee that would do it. Hearing must examine who authorized MPD's involvement, what legal justifications were cited, and whether MPD leadership consulted DC government officials before cooperating with Doge. Next is the ANC demands transparency and accountability from MPD by providing a full report of its involvement in this breach and making that report public. ANC urges law enforcement agencies to proactively prepare for addressing jurisdictional challenges by developing and publishing clear protocols, and requesting the Attorney General's office to assess whether MPD's involvement in this operation violated local laws and DC home rule. And then ANC 1E affirms the need for local control over MPD. Thoughts?
You wrote that so quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I can put it into a resolution and just kick it over to you, or put it in the thing, and feel free to edit it at will.
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions, thoughts? Philippa, the piece in here that was directly from you was
The prepare
that they
for
proactively.
upcoming. That's another thing is at work. I just finished a huge project 2025 analysis. And I have a fresh list in my head of where things are going. They are pushing for additional law enforcement capabilities and legal justification for the Secret Service. So beyond the currently operating jurisdictional net of about 7 agencies, there are plans to add an additional one. And so being prepared for the Secret Service to gain law enforcement authority is what motivated me to say that, because that is something that we should be aware of as a new group of law enforcement authorized officers that may act inside our communities.
Awesome. All right. So I'll throw this. I was trying to put a title on the agenda and it's really awful. So if you guys don't mind helping me come up with a better one. A resolution condemning MPD's participation in supporting Doge's break into USIP, urging CM Pinto to host oversight hearings and calling on law enforcement agencies to basically prepare for addressing jurisdiction challenges.
I can think about the
That's-
title some more.
Yeah, thank you.
I
only
think
reminders
like,
that
oh, sorry, what were you saying?
the only reminders that we need to send this out tomorrow. So if you don't mind just updating it by tomorrow, that would be great. Thank you.
Yep. I might soften the language a little bit on condemning MPD's participation because some of it might have been confusion from the initial reporting that I'm seeing, but we can.
Personally, I am shocked that we're still confused about what's happening.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hence my whole thing of like, you don't get to be confused twice, so you better not use this again. Kind of resolution.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
please
fair.
feel free to. That I was doing that as like a stream of thought, so feel free to update it. Okay, and then we already talked about the for this, Philippa, but how would you like to title it? So a resolution urging the U.S. House of Representatives to swiftly pass.
I don't know the number that it changed to off the top of my head, but let's just go with swiftly swiftly pass and reinstate um, DC's budget autonomy. Does that suit everyone? I can look up the resolution, the House resolution number real quick so we can add that in, and then I will be right back with you.
Awesome, thank you.
And I haven't had a chance to dig into this, but my understanding is that this resolution doesn't actually include the provision that allows DC to keep running if the federal government is shut down. It might be worth double checking on that though.
If the federal government were to shut down in September,
Yeah, I'll double
Yeah.
doesn't this go
check
through
it.
September?
I'll double check it because it depends on the reconciliation between the two. So I'll double check it and I'll let you know. Let me get that number real quick.
Yeah, so basically I think there are a couple of provisions in the past that would be included in CRs. One was allowing DC's budget to continue through the regular process. The other was if the federal government shut down, clarifying that DC doesn't have to shut down. And I think the Senate fix was just for the DC budget issue and not for allowing DC to continue operating if the government is shut down. So like if the federal government shuts down, that means that DC trash pickup would have to be canceled.
And part of me, quite honestly, wonders how they might experience feeling that kind of pressure. Not that I want to live through it, but I am curious.
During those times, they go back to their districts, so they don't care. Just unfortunate. All right. So, any other business that we want to add to the agenda? All right. Hearing none, this will be our agenda. Josh, thank you for agreeing to take a stab at the title. Philippa, once you get that, I'll put that in here. And then tomorrow, Josh, just let us know when you're done. And then I apologize. I keep forgetting. Audra, do you send this stuff out, or Brad, do you do it because it's web-based materials? Which one of you sends out the notice of public meeting?
Brad,
Brad, awesome. The Brad, tomorrow afternoon, evening, roughly between 5 and 7. Try to do it no later than 7. If you can send out all the pieces of information to legally publicly notice the meeting for next week.
Yeah, is there any reason it has to go out tomorrow? Can I just do it tonight?
As long as it's done.
Okay. Yeah.
Josh,
If I don't do it tonight, I'll forget.
Josh, if you you're on mute, Josh.
I will work on a title right after this.
Awesome. And it's in the share file or share folder, the agenda.
Yeah. Let me text Daniel and see if he has a cleanup that he wants to advertise.
I don't think we would put that in the agenda. He would announce
No,
it for
but we
sure.
put it. We put it in the email, and if we want to send the email
Oh,
tonight,
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So that is everything for the agenda. I want to move on to some of the things that we talked about last time, but are there any questions with regards to just getting everything prepared and ready to rock and roll for the meeting next week? Awesome. All righty. I'm going to stop sharing because I just have notes for the rest of the conversation. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so just as a follow-up to some of the conversations we had last month, so for the committees, you guys will be discussing topics during the March and April committee meetings and draft testimony to review during your April committee meetings. And we will target to have the full ANC vote on testimony during the April meetings. The one risk with that is that we will be a little bit ahead of the curve on what is going to be coming out of the mayor's actual proposal. And so we are potentially going to, there may be things that we want to amend a little bit later, but the hope was getting this done in April would give us the ability to start doing some more work around getting on budget, witness lists, things of that nature, budget oversight, witness lists, all that, the kind of piece, because we meet very late in the month. So if there are any questions on that, just a note on that is that the committee does not have to submit testimony. It's just that if you do have testimony that you are interested in providing and you want to have the ANC, it be an official resolution or voice of the ANC has to vote on it. So the committee would like to do it it's advised to do it in April so that we can actually vote on it together. Any questions with regard to that? Awesome. Next was just following up on the survey and the polls. So Audra, did you have any opportunity to take a look at some of the questions and to just inquire about how much it would take to actually do a poll like this?
oh, thanks for reminding me, Brian. I did think of some questions and looked at, considered what we might want to add, especially for trend questions. Didn't talk to someone about a quote. Thank you for reminding me. I'll definitely take care of that.
Awesome.
Today's Wednesday. Yeah, this week or between tomorrow, Friday, and early next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
And it
Thank
doesn't
you.
have to
Thanks
be
for
anything.
reminding me.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be anything official. Like it's more of like, are we looking at $50,000 or is it like
Absolutely. Sure.
10, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Because then I can start the process of putting in the application for getting
Right.
funds from the OANC.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
Thank you. So I guess what do we want the next steps to be for there are two surveys, right? We have the 5 to 6 question survey that's going to be more of like a running
Right.
thing, and the objective of that is
Right.
for
Trends, keeping track of trends and changes and preferences and attitudes and things like that.
yes, and then the second one would be like an annual comprehensive kind of poll with statistical significance.
Right. Yeah. Slightly bigger, probably is what I would think.
Yeah, and that
Um,
bigger one's what would be potentially we would pay an actual professional to come in and do. But the 5 to 6
Right.
question thing, like as soon as we get those questions done, it's Brad, if I remember correctly, you were gonna take the lead and just like pumping it into a either Survey Monkey or something along those lines, and then we would put it on the website, get a QR code, and then we would put it on business cards. Do I remember that correctly?
Yes, but I didn't. Sorry, I must not have realized I had the green light to draft something. So yeah.
You don't. I don't think you do yet. Audra,
Oh.
were you able to review them, or are they done?
I haven't
The 5 to
reviewed them
6
yet.
questions?
But yeah, once I
Oh, okay.
go over them, and that won't take long. I mean, I can probably do that in a day easily. It's just a matter of just, committing some time. So I could probably have that by the end of the week. Mm,
And Brad, before
That's easy
you,
enough.
awesome, thank you. And before you, go forward with it, if you want to, Audra, send it to everybody, and you can put them just
Absolutely.
in the
Sure.
body of an email, and we can all take a quick look, and then,
Yeah, we do that.
but recognizing that you are the professional, so it's more
Yeah.
for awareness and
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yep.
Brad, do you need any authorization to purchase anything such as like I'm making this up, but like a Survey Monkey license or anything like that? Like what mode are you going to use to actually do the survey?
Sorry, I was walking in the house. I don't know yet.
Okay. We have the Microsoft suite, and so we can also do Microsoft Forms. That might be a little clunky, but it's an option if wanted.
Okay.
So we can talk about that too if you want to go over some options. But if you want to get a license or something like that, I don't clearly have the budget for
my
it.
biggest question was just the way, like the way we send out the newsletter. Like I want to make sure it's synced to the form so that when people fill out the survey, it grows our newsletter list. And so that's why I keep asking about the CRM. Like, is there a customer resource management system that we have available to us? And is that GovTrack? And then if so, how do we I don't know the capabilities of that.
I think it's Gov Delivery.
Or Gov Delivery. Yeah, I've used Gov Delivery before. So but is it like, can I is there a login so I can go ahead and like settle that up?
I would say reach out to the ANC, just directly email Kent and ask him that exact question. And we're interested in Gov Delivery. Can you please help me get connected to it? And what's our capability? Do you know Ken Bose? Yeah, okay, great.
And sorry, with this,
Okay.
do we know what format the survey would be? And would it be phone calls, texts,
No.
letters?
So again, this is just
Online.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I mean the first survey. The bigger survey.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The short one is not a real survey. Like, it is, but like, we're not trying to be statistically accurate.
I think, Josh, before we get like too far into the weeds on it, we want to see how big the expense would be, and then see if the ONC would cover it.
Mhm.
If it's going to be $50,000 and they're like, well, we have $5,000 left in the budget, like maybe this is something we bring up next year, or we come back and talk about an abbreviated way of doing it. But if they're willing to do that, then then let's go get like an actual proposal. Let's put in a submission for those funds. Like, then I think we can kind of go down the path. But conducting
Yeah, I mean,
or building the
there
survey
are a
will
few
take
ways
some
we can
time.
do it, right? We can do taking into consideration, not all of our constituents are online, live their lives online, and that would specifically be the elderly, right? Our elders. A phone survey might be very good for that, which is cheaper than a face-to-face survey. And we could do, a random sample, making sure that we sample from each of our SMPs and, do something that way. So I can actually get quotes for all three formats and see what we come up with.
Again, I guess what I'd really care about is if we want to use this to drive any sort of decision making, is making sure that the format that we choose will end up being statistically significant. And so I guess really like I care about getting feedback from organizations on like what might be the best way to do it, and
Yeah,
doing
I
it
mean,
that way
what gives
rather
you
than
significance? Yeah, what gives you significance is the representativeness of the sample relative to the size, not necessarily the format. But it does play a role, right? Because you want to make sure that you reach all segments of the population. So yeah, those are all very important things to consider.
And I think the other, so because, my original idea was just to use it as a way to kind of collect emails and bring some interactivity in it. I think as we explore this bigger poll, putting in the expense to get it statistically accurate is like, I think we should maybe really focus on what is the public benefit to doing this and this incurring this expense. Like, what are we going to do with the information? Because, I think just make sure that it's a good use of resources here. So I think let's make sure we give that some thought and that we're all aligned on that. One, it's needed before I think do too
And
much
that
of
might be something that we want to cooperate with other ANCs, right? I mean, if we really want to do a good representative poll, one big, a really good representative poll that gives us statistical significance, that allows us to make decisions, right? Because of that, because it's a credible, reliable, valid survey, it might be worth spending the money to do one good poll right. So that's something to keep in mind as well, that, if we do get a quote for $40,000 or $50,000, if we can spread that between a few ANCs, it might be worth it.
Yeah, I guess the point I'm making is that like I think there's a difference between using a poll to help us make good decisions and using a
To
poll
capture information.
to capture. And there's a poll for like doing something like what I'm afraid of is I don't want the take from voters or constituents to be that like we're doing this to make our jobs easier or better, right? Like I just I think we need to make sure that we're going to figure out a way, like there needs to be a public good benefit to this.
Oh yeah, but I think that's exactly the point, right? I mean, we want to do a survey to make our jobs easier in the sense that we're getting accurate information about voter preferences, about our constituents' preferences and their needs, so that we can be more responsive.
Yeah,
right? I mean, I would think that we would want that.
Yeah, I agree, but I just think that like the the constituents' perceptions normally is like that's what you use campaign dollars for. Like, like I just want to tie it to a specific, public benefit here. And
Better
make sure,
service provision, better and more precise and more effective service provision. That's the hook, I think.
And service provision can be methods for communication, specific services to advocate for. Like, I
Exactly.
agree.
Yeah, all of it.
yeah. Okay,
All of
I
it.
just get a little concerned that with so much stuff around the city that people may express frustration that this is what we're spending money on and not fixing stuff. So like, I just want to make sure we address that and we're all in alignment before we authorize the expense. So
We're not allowed to spend a lot of money
No,
on fixing
I know,
stuff.
but you know what I'm
So,
saying.
yeah.
Like I think a poll would be great and like fascinating, and I would love to learn where people are. I just want to make sure that's aligned with what like people are wanting from us.
Okay. And so the next piece on here I had was Philippa. I know you'd expressed some interest in maybe revisiting our like issues tracker, and the link. I know you're still gaining access to the Microsoft Suite, so you probably can't access that link yet. But I'll keep that action item on here just so when we were able to get to it. And then for April, do we want to have another cow meeting? Do people find this to be beneficial? We'd agreed last week or last month that we would make a decision on a month-to-month basis if we want to have it the following month. So are people good with having an April cow?
I would like one. That would be helpful.
Awesome. Alrighty. So we will do April. And again, so that will be something that will be posted in the materials tonight. It's the same thing that's in there from last month. It's just updating the date. The one thing, if somebody could go into the website and just update the calendar and add the cow to the calendar view, that would be great.
And just because I know the agenda needs to go out tonight, I did find the Senate resolution number. It was a voice vote, which means there's almost no recording of anything anywhere. And they haven't even given it a number, as far as I can tell, in the House, unless somebody finds something else, in which case, please correct me. But I just popped that in the chat real quick, that it's Senate Resolution 1077.
It'll stay that.
Okay, so I didn't know if they were going to have a matching one or if they tried to reconcile, they might give it its own number. So like,
No, they have to pass that one as is, or they have to start all over. So
cool. Okay, well, so in that case, it's S1077,
Marvelous.
just for the agenda.
Perfect. Thank you.
and like there's a process for stuff like this in the House. So like they can do it by voice and you see like the Senate did. They can throw it on suspension calendar, which means it surely will pass. So like we're hopeful that like Speaker Johnson just kind of puts this out there and like lets it pass. And then like no one makes a big deal out of it since Trump and Thune are for it. We kind of suspect that's what's going to happen. And the mayor's optimistic, but you know, it's
Also,
the House.
did a brief,
So who knows?
a brief read through, and Josh, I believe you're correct. There's still that missing paragraph about exempting DC from shutting down. So I'm sure we will start worrying about that about August 28th. So
Exactly.
It's probably worth putting in the resolution that we want them to pass something.
a great point. I'll point that out in the resolution that we should maybe figure that out.
Awesome. All right. And then I wanted to just remind the committee chairs that you have a folder in the share folder, and the your resolutions, your meeting minutes, your agendas. If you guys could all make sure that they're going into those folders. I sat down with Brad this weekend and we talked a little bit about the website. And Brad, I'm going to steal your thunder a little bit, but Brad's going to kind of take an opportunity to assess if we need to kind of revamp the whole thing, make it a little bit more user friendly, specifically for people who may not be as familiar with how to use WordPress, things of that nature. So he's going to tie some of the folders directly to the website so people can access them. So just a reminder, and I know Josh, you're very good at it, and Phil, you're very good at it, and we just got Michael a government email address, and now he will have access to these folders, so he'll start putting it in there as well. And Brad, I stole your thunder, but did you want to elaborate on your ideas around the website?
Essentially, it's to make it more seamlessly integrated and easy for people so that, for instance, like the links don't go to a landing page that go to a link. Like the navigation button will go directly to the, like, or whatever we send it to will go directly to the folder that you upload stuff into. So like, you know, it's easy to access that way and you don't have to log into WordPress or do anything. But that we're also doing it in a way that's mobile friendly. And, you know, just kind of looks and is organized in an easier fashion for folks to understand. I think even when I was a candidate, like when I landed on the page, it like still trying to figure out what what ANCs are, what we do, where we live, map. Like it's kind of hard to locate some of that information either on the .dc.gov one and this one. So like trying to figure out a way to make it seamlessly integrated so the information stays fresh, current, is easy to access, and like is mobile friendly, which is key, I think. And then also making it increasing accessibility for folks that may have, English as their second language, or like need ability to increase the font size, or create like just a site map so they can easily find what they're looking for, like all those things. We just want to kind of make it more accessible to more people, and in different formats. So, and to be more seamlessly integrated. And there's very simple things we can do to like do that. So that's kind of the general assessment there. And I don't really have the answer yet what that looks like, but I'm kind of exploring those options, and we'll hopefully have a rec by next month. We'll have a rec soon and some progress by next month. And none of this really costs much. And like I kind of, this is just something I know how to do. I wouldn't say I know how to do it super well, but like I'm learning. So there's, to your point, Brian, I don't think there's going to be a cost to this. And if there is, like, obviously I'll let folks know.
And there is a budget for it, so it's available.
Well, yeah.
And if we want, I was just gonna say, if we want anything translated on our website, we can get help from, I don't remember the department, but it's not OANC, but it's a different department, and they can.
It's Office of Human Rights or something close to that.
Yeah.
Here's what I have found in doing this for multiple websites. Believe it or not, AI is fantastic at this, to the point to where I've submitted whole websites to friends that speak Spanish and of different dialects, and who say like, wow, like this is good. So I would love if there's an official like kind of approval process, like I can cut down on the response time by like sending them this, and I think running it by making sure we understand the different dialects that are in Spanish to make sure it's clear to everyone. And like it's actually way more efficient than you think now with AI, because you don't translate most of it by hand. Most of it, like you can get 90% of it, up to 95, 96% with AI, and it streams along. So I think that part will go a lot quicker. In my experience, it's been what's happening. It's kind of shocking, actually, how good it is.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. And so you said we'll see some progress next week or next month, excuse me.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm just saving the resolution. And then the SOPs. So Audra, just checking in. Did you have any issues with the SOPs? Is it good to go? I know you'd asked me about the red line edits, and it should be clean, and the top
I
should just
believe
have
they should be, yeah.
Marvelous. Cool.
They're good to go. I give it to you.
Awesome. And so, Brad, if you can just upload the updated SOPs to the website, that'd be great.
SOP, sorry.
The standard operating.
I can do it.
Upload to the website. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's everything that I had on my list. Was there anything else that people wanted to discuss? Official business agenda, administrative matters, otherwise?
I'll just note for Brad, check your email. I sent out an ad for cleanup for April that should be added to the newsletter.
You're on mute, Brad.
Yeah, I haven't been taught the newsletter yet, so I don't understand. I need to figure out how to do that as well.
Okay.
Like I've got a new website, but I like.
Yeah. Did you get access to the one password?
No, and I remember that being a problem. Okay.
Okay.
I'll figure that out.
We don't need to handle this here, but I'll text you.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. All right. Well, team, I think that is everything. If there is no other business, then we can adjourn. All right, my friends.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.